Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Elias Munsha, and I am coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, from Munsha Law Offices, which also double as TV Bakwetu Studios. As usual, it's about 1:39 here, so we are coming a little bit late because, as you know, life happens. I'm not alone. I am with Mr. Norman Chipakupaku, also known as General, and we have a content-packed broadcast today. So we're going to ask you to share with as many people as possible. The reason why you need to share is because we are dealing with several topics, including what happened in Mandevu and in Pulungu and what the Electoral Commission of Zambia is saying about the law. So today, I will be teaching the law, as long as General Chipakupaku allows me. Good evening, General.
Good evening, Mushu. Good evening, Chiwempala. Good evening, Chioma. I think there's a reason why I'm greeting Chioma today. Good evening, Mpulungu. Good evening, Chama. And good evening to all our viewers all over the world. And should I say, it's a sad day because the KK's body arrived in Choma today.
Right.
And it was sad, really, really sad for me. And I think let's kick off, Munsha. I hope you're well. And it was nice to see you on Simon Mwewalen TV. And I hope you managed to persuade him to unblock a lot of people who were complaining. Did you manage to persuade him to do that?
I think I will write him. I think I'll write him a very nice official letter using very impeccable handwriting. So I'm going to prepare that and I'm going to say, dear Mr. Mwewa, please unblock hundreds of our followers who have been blocked. And so I hope he's going to attend to that.
I hope so. And the other thing is that thank you so much. You broke Simon Mwewalen as tradition. He's always sitting on the fence. But you said it straight yesterday to say you support HH, which was fantastic. And I think Simon Mwewa, as the page, ended up getting more support yesterday just because you made it clear that you are not mincing your words, that you support HH. Thank you so much for doing that.
So you are appreciating me because of what exactly, General? I don't understand. Because I've already endorsed Mr. Hichilema. So why are you appreciating for what?
I am appreciating you, Munsha, because you're NDC. It takes a lot of courage for an NDC member to do that.
because I know where you're going with this. I know where I don't know where you're going with this, but why should you be insisting that I'm NDC?
No, I am very, very grateful for you to having done that because you're NDC. That's the first thing. The second reason why I am really appreciating that, because Simon Mwewalen has never been, he's a coward. I think that's the right word I can use. He's always sitting on the fence when it comes to these things. But there's that Bemba where do you guys use say Mwalibika Paujen yesterday. You told him on the Pamsula, if you ever. So yesterday, I was so happy because where that young man was interviewing you from, I had a lot of meetings in the Central Committee before his father died. When we had problems with Freedom House, we moved to Simpson Building. So it has a lot of memories for me. And so thank you so much for telling him that. Because Simon Mwewa's father was a former governor and he was also a member of Central Committee when I was in the Central Committee after 1991. So thank you so much for that.
History. I have no doubt that you share a lot of history with Mr. Simon Mwewa. But remember, Chitambala is not Simon Mwewa, right?
No, it's not. It's not.
Simon Mwewa is his father.
Exactly.
But of course, I think as a tribute to his father, he uses it for the program and for the land. So hence Simon Mwewa. And so I know that you do have history with Mr. Chitambala Mwewa, and so our listeners, I think they all have a history with him. But I'm quite surprised at the response, because I never expected that I am going to get this much response. So if Imwe Chitambala, if you are listening, Chitambala Wesu, Ngamleo Mfua, the response I'm receiving from our viewers is at Mwaliba bloka sana. So it's kind of strange in a sense, right? So I don't know where to take this, General, but I do understand your dilemma.
No, I think it's let's make it official that you are going to write him officially, and I think it would be a nice email to say, dear Mr. Chitambala Mwewa, please unblock hundreds, if not thousands, of our followers who would love to follow you, but you blocked them. And I think he will definitely attend to that, because I think he follows this program as well.
Right. So General, an update. It's very sad because we keep updating the funeral list of our fellow Zambians. Today, the Ministry of Health said 50 more of dead, and these are official statistics. I think the number could be higher. Among them are Dr. Mabenga, one of Mwanawasa's ministers, brilliant person, and several others. And
Newstead Zimba, who was FTJ's minister one time. Newstead Zimba was a minister for FTJ. He has also died today.
Right. And is he the guy who wanted to deport? Was he the minister during the Kaunda deportation saga?
Yes, he was the minister who wanted to deport Kaunda to Malawi, and yet he's also from Lundazi, somewhere there on the border with Malawi. So it was very surprising.
I like the way you are saying it. He's also from Lundazi. For me, I have made a very clear conclusion. Bonse imumwebena chipata. Bonse bena chipata. Bena Malawi. I need to add something more, General. I need to add something more. And it is okay.
Yeah. Well, for those who have never been to Eastern Province, there's no boundary between Malawi and Zambia. It's not like Zimbabwe, where you have to get a boat and cross and go across, or our friends in across Congo, where you get a boat and no. Malawi, you can walk. You can walk across to Mchinji. Right. Nobody would ask you a question. It's not a problem. So
as far as I'm concerned, I don't care really. And so, but I care for people that pretend, like the less Newstead Zimba and several others. They don't know Malawi and wanting to deport a person who never cheated about it. He said, yes, my father was David Kaunda from Livingstone Mission, who was Malawan Tonga and came over in Chinsali, and the story is there. No, but these people are very which the deport Kaunda. Nonsense. Anyway,
it's really sad.
May the memory of Newstead Zimba be in peace.
We have also lost, Musha, a doctor, a young doctor today because of COVID.
Right.
Dr. Mulwanda. I want to get his correct name so that we really, really acknowledge this situation, which is really, really bad. And one of the young doctors who just died today, and I think he's from Lusaka, Dr. Edwin Mulwanda, is, to me, it's very sad that you train a doctor for 7 years and then you have COVID and it's raging. Right. And all of a sudden, we are now starting to lose more frontline staff. More doctors are going to die if we're not careful. And that is very, very sad, really, really sad. And when I got the news to say Dr. Edwin Mulwanda, I don't know him personally, but I was just imagining the parents. I was imagining probably is a young doctor who just been married, or I don't know. But the parents, if I sent my son to do medicine for 7 years, and then all of a sudden he dies just because we don't have proper PPE or proper plan for COVID. It's very, very sad, really sad.
General, the police have summoned Dr. Sampa again. Now, we have COVID, we have doctors literally dying because of COVID. Nurses getting infected, clinic officers getting infected, cleaners in hospitals, they're getting infected. And it is the priority of this police to continue victimizing a medical doctor. Cheese some more.
I think we have a crisis. I think we have a crisis. We have a governance crisis. We have a health crisis in Zambia. And we should not pretend anymore. I really don't want to use harsh words because I'm still mourning. We're all still mourning. I think there's something not right about summoning a doctor who's supposed to be fighting to save lives. By the way, this doctor, this is almost the end of the month. He won't have his salary, but they're still summoning him to the police. And right. I find that very, very upsetting. Meanwhile, Munsha, you know that there's a deal and a scandal in the Ministry of Health.
Another one?
Big scandal, yes. There's a big scandal where people, basically, most of that regalia you're seeing from PF, most of this money is coming through Ministry of Health as commissions, which is very, very sad. And if people are doubting this, in the next few days, we will say it out. But it involves senior PF officials who are making commissions from Ministry of Health. Meanwhile, they're harassing and haranguing this Dr. Sampa. Meanwhile, the doctors are not paid. Meanwhile, the nurses are struggling, and most of our people are going to die.
Right.
But the PF officials are making money from the Ministry of Health. They're still making money from the Ministry of Health, from commissions. Even after Dr. Bonanza, it's still happening now.
Oh no. So then what else can we say? How can we right this sinking ship, General? What else can we say?
I think I can't wait for the 12th. I can't wait for the 12th of August. God should just give us life. That between now is 50 days to go. That we don't lose more people. Let's prepare masks for everybody to go and vote wearing a mask. But I think the answer is to get rid of this government. One.
Right.
Secondly, the first ministry to be investigated. If the Auditor General is listening now, in fact, he knows what I'm talking about. I think they better close the Ministry of Health and put new PSs, new administrators until a big audit is done. Because what is happening at the Ministry of Health is a scandal, serious scandal.
So General, and as a people, we are not saying that Zambia cannot face challenges. Every country, every home, every person faces challenges. What we are saying is that we've got to have steady leadership because leadership matters. It does matter.
Exactly.
And so we are going to stop talking about this if leadership, if President Lungu shows leadership, if this administration shows leadership, if we cannot stay silent. But this is not normal. If it normal, there is something terribly wrong with the way these things are going. No, that's not the thing.
Actually, Musha, the leadership, absence of leadership now can mean life or death for our people. Because as I said 2 weeks ago, is it a week ago, we are like a plane which is on autopilot. We are like a plane which is on autopilot. We don't know where we're heading. We don't know whether we can go and land safely. We are not sure whether we've got enough fuel. We are not sure whether we've got enough life jackets as well. But we are flying on. We are going on. And it's really, really scary. And meanwhile, Mr. Lungu is pretending as if everything is okay. He's It's no, I don't know. Does he really think he's still president of Zambia? Or probably has given up? I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. Limbi bachiri dizzy.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know he fainted again. You never know he fainted again, and they're not telling us the truth.
Yeah, Limbi bachiri dizzy. And because you can't explain this type of neglect.
No.
Now, if you're muntu na kwataka ntemba, ine kuno I run ka small office, ka small law firm. Number, kulaba waibikirisha kwati niwe uli muine, commander in chief, ndelo lekesha bwino, nde chenchenta. To make sure that everything is in order.
Yep.
Number, ababadipo, nothing.
It's sad, Munsha. The worst thing I heard from Professor Luo is a statement yesterday, was it yesterday or this morning? Yes, we destroyed the economy. We damaged everything. Yes, we know that. But we are the only ones who know how to solve that problem because we are the ones who destroyed the economy.
What it means is, so we can't use them to corrective.
No.
That's why we have unapologetically endorsed a different candidate. Because by President Lungu na Luo, the Lulu ticket, they have no guts, no capacity, no energy, no grace to govern our republic. Na bafilwa amakayapwa. Okay?
Yeah, I feel sorry. I really feel sorry about my country. I really feel sorry. I'm worried about the next 50 days. My worry is that we'll lose more people. My worry is that the new government will find a mess because mess, you can tell the mess at the Ministry of Health. How about what do you think is happening at the Ministry of Finance? If we have so much mess at the Ministry of Health, what do you think is at the Ministry of Finance?
It's a mess. It's a complete mess. It's a mess everywhere. When we are saying this, a well-governed institution, you can see from the fruits. When we say that the Lungu administration did not handle the passing of President Kaunda properly, it's not that that is an exception. That is rather a symptom of a very huge maladministration, a very huge disease. And so botching the announcements shows just how diseased this government is. Lack of coordination of common sense. It shows what is wrong with this government. The continued persecution of a health worker. When health workers are stretched to the limit, right now, doctors, nurses, cleaners, clinic officers, lab technicians, all these, they are stretched to the maximum. And now, General, I saw the picture of the former mayor of Lusaka receiving a COVID vaccine at his house.
It just shows to you that our priorities as a country, especially the leadership of PF, is upside down. Right away, the thing they should be worrying about is how can we stop the transmission of COVID?
Right.
Somebody was saying there are about 120 buses every day heading east, heading west, heading southern, heading north, with about 65 passengers each.
Right.
And these people don't have any, they don't have any masks. They don't have any hand sanitizers.
Right.
And these buses are traveling every day. What do these people think is happening?
Right.
Before your interview with Simon Simon Moralen, as he calls himself, he had to pan on the city market. His live camera on the city market made me cry because you could see thousands and thousands of people in that market. Nobody had a mask.
Now, General, we are not saying that there is nothing that can be done about it. The crisis has come. What was needed was What, General? Leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership has been the missing link in all this crisis. Do not ever think that no, fiachitika fiatifiakwalesa, te fiakwalesa yo. This is not something that has just suddenly happened. With common sense restrictions, doctors have been warning. Doctors. Let's implement some measured restrictions. No, it went on the deaf or on the dizzied ears of President Lungu. Kainge very dizzy. So tabale teka wino mlandu wako wati bagateka but dizzy. Erongana but dizzy. Mwimona kona kalimondese kokuluwala. Let's just put it very clear. Bonse tukafua. Namalwele twayasenda mubidi. So let's just clear that. When I say very dizzy, it's not because I'm trying to mock him. What I'm trying to emphasize is that he cannot lead this nation. That's it. A dizziness in there and up.
Yeah.
Because where are the common sense restrictions? No, but we hear these ministers now, they're permanent secretaries. They're saying because the people of Zambia have not been adhering to all these restrictions, will come up with tougher measures. Are these people thinking rightly?
So it's too late, Muncha. Too little, too late.
Right.
And what I hear is that we are receiving 4 million vaccines.
Right.
You know what I'm really worried about? These vaccines will end up in the hospital, in the private hospitals, private clinics of corrupt people. The people who need these vaccines are the doctors, the nurses, all the frontline health workers. All the key health workers should be given this vaccine number one, first priority. But already you are seeing the former mayor is the first one to receive. It's like you in your house, you have no food, and you are feeding the husband in the house, leaving a 2-year-old child.
Now, General, it's not just that he received it. A delegation of a healthcare worker went to his house. You tell me, under what circumstances would you take a frontline health worker
to somebody's house?
To somebody's house.
Munsha, I pay my tax in this country. And when they gave me my appointment, I drove to the vaccination center. I could have walked. If I'd walked, it was going to take me about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But because I was working, I had to drive to go there. There's no way that they would have followed me at my house. Even in this country, not even if the prime minister of this country, he went and got his job. He went and got his job at the hospital.
Right.
So what's wrong with our people?
Right. So let's just be clear here. You VIPs, please stop it. Because when you get a healthcare worker move from their base to come to you to administer a vaccine, they're wasting time. They're wasting resources. They're wasting common sense. They're spreading the disease. What is important is for you, imwe amolu mwalikwata, nemyotoka badi mipela, fyonse mwalikwata, nishite tumuile kuchipatala, eko baya milashila. Why can't Mr. Miles Zampa go to the hospital to get his COVID vaccine? Why should we have a healthcare worker go to his Boba house, whatever he's calling it, spend the time there, Babalasa, and then go to another person? Meanwhile, our healthcare workers are being exposed, getting sick, and dying. This is not the way to govern a country. Because we are just capitalizing on weaknesses. These are not weaknesses.
No.
Even if you are going to mwateka mistake, that this is a mistake. This is a systemic corruption and confusion. It's systemic.
It's very, very clear that the upper members, these vaccines will be got by the upper members and our poor people, and especially the doctors. Because look, it's a strategic move, Musha. Even in the UK, Europe, anywhere in these countries, the first people they protected are the medical staff. Because these are the people we need to protect the rest of the country. Now, if a person like Mayor Sampa, who can buy his own mask, he can get his sanitizer, why should we follow him at his house and vaccinate him at his house? My biggest worry, the people living in Kanyama, the people living in Chipata compound, what are they doing about these people?
Right.
What are they doing about the markets?
All right.
Because the priority is all the medical stuff. Because if we don't protect the medical staff, we're going to lose the whole country. Here's a young doctor, Mulwanda, he's died.
Okay. General, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's body was in Choma. They opened it up for a bit for pictures, and there was a church service in Choma. They intend to take the body around the country.
Munsha, this has been very, very difficult for the Kaunda family. Very, very difficult. It has been very, very difficult. And that's why they decided to take the diplomatic way. Instead of issuing a statement, they wrote a letter to the Secretary of the Cabinet. I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I'm just feeling what they are feeling.
Yeah.
What they are feeling now, being told to say, let's take this body everywhere.
Right.
There's a risk of COVID. There's a lot of wastage of money going there. Thirdly, we are really, they were trying to play games. I think the Kaunda families decided that they were not going to allow any politician to speak. Because I think that's what PF was trying to do. We're trying to use this as an opportunity to campaign, but they put their foot down and said, we don't want any politician to speak. And we don't want any party regalia at the airport. And in Choma, I think for our young viewers, you understand why you went to Choma first. There's a very special message there. The Choma Declaration, which we mentioned, 1973, which brought in the one-party state. Before that, we were the multi-party state, and we were fighting amongst ourselves. ANC and the UNIP were fighting every time. And in Kumbula and Kaunda in 1973 signed the declaration in Choma to bring peace. Okay. That's why I think they took the body back home.
In usual times, definitely that would have been okay. But under the COVID things,
in principle, I still don't agree with that.
But you see, here's the thing, because they are getting the police, giving them masks and saying it's okay, they can march. But masks are not enough. You can't just say because that one's masks, therefore it is good. No. Right? It's not enough. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, as a result of this, there's going to be several other infections. I'm sorry. This is a super spreader event.
There'll be more infections.
Hello. The other thing is no body viewing. Because if we have to fire kulutambi, kumonapo body viewing, we want to see if you're muntu afuide.
I was watching the program, and I think they had to insist that the cameraman should view in, because they knew that the Zambian people were going to ask a lot of questions about that casket. So they took the camera there, zoomed it in, and said, so I saw the body of my commander-in-chief there, and I felt really, really bad. But to me, as a matter of principle, that should have never been done. That should not happen. They should not go to Mongo tomorrow. But it looks like that's what the PF government and Mr. Lungu wanted. They wanted to use it to campaign, but I think they've been shot in the foot by the Kaunda family, who have said no politician should speak.
Yeah. At 23% infection rate, right, positivity rate as they are calling it, 23% positivity rate. It means then that for those that are being taken for testing, out of every 100, 20 are positive. If we use that statistic to apply it to the entire population, we can very safely say 20% of the population could be infected. That is huge. It's an emergency. And so perhaps what is needed is to restrict all these official functions for a bit. We are not saying that close forever. Just restrict so that you can arrest this situation. Anyway, that's something else. Yes, Jen.
Yeah, I am still saying on the Dr. Kaunda's funeral, let's use this time to reflect, Vane. Let's reflect on the future of our country. Let's reflect on the teachings of Dr. Kaunda. One thing which really, really upset me was to see Umwino Achisushi going to Kaunda's house, sign the book of condolences, and start talking about tribalism again. That really, 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 really upset me. And I'm saying to myself, what is really going on?
Yeah.
You people in Zambia, is it me who's just seeing a very dangerous situation there? You can't go to somebody who was talking about one Zambia, one nation, somebody who has been preaching peace all the time, somebody who was practicing what he was saying. You sign the book of condolence, and then after that you issue a statement to say, look, these people are tribalists. What's going on?
Right. There is definitely something wrong there, and we've already condemned those sentiments, and this idea that there was no tribalism during Kaunda's time are actually wrong. There was, and Kaunda made some efforts. And what efforts did Kaunda make? He first of all was trusted, right, by the political elite in those days because him. And I'm going to go there, General. I know you don't want me going there. Him being of Malawan parentage, there was an understanding that he was going to be a neutral arbiter, particularly between the ANCs and the other faction of UNIP, mostly led by the Chinsali group. That's how they trusted him. But the Chinsali group continued putting Kaunda in confusion and trouble. They continued.
Exactly.
Even after independence, the Chinsali group, and this is the part of history which I'm trying to explore in my article. Some of you have not read the article, but you are condemning me. No. The Chinsali group continued giving problems to Kenneth Kaunda on account of his Malawan parentage.
Well,
and so Kaunda, when leading, he made it very clear that in order for us to have one Zambia, one nation, we needed a deliberate plan at tribal balancing, which meant Kaunda would deliberately seek out other tribes and invite them to leadership.
Yep.
So Kaunda would not stand up and say that he's no longer going to bring in our Tonga or our Lozi and have that attitude. What he said was, it's one Zambia, one nation, na alaya mukubaleta, na alaya bafuaya, base in leadership. I'll go to the east, base some leadership. I'll go to the west, base some leadership. It was not just about Ukulanda Fiat Kwai, as long as Ninson Tababe Mbabeka Beka, Nishi, that's one Zambia, one nation. No. General.
Well, Musha, I think we must try and teach the history. What happened in 1967? Is it 67 or 68? 67 at the UNIP conference. A lot of Zambians, especially you guys like me who lived in the Eastern Province or from Eastern Province, where did the slogan Umozi Kumawa come from? Why did it come? Who was becoming a tribalist? Why did Mr. Mwansaka Pwepwe leave UNIP and form his UPP in 1971? Right. What was the cause?
Right.
Who supported Kaunda? Who supported Kaunda when he almost resigned as president? Right. You people, Zambians, learn your history.
Right.
There is this Kumozi Kumawa, which to you, it was not tribalism. If the Tongas had said Kuchiundo alone, you would have said it's tribalism.
Right.
And if the people of the Southern Province or the Lozis would have done what Kapwepwe tried to do, derail Kaunda in and out, what would you have called that?
Right.
But let's call a spade here. We know the agenda. Yeah. We know the agenda is still there. I'm sorry that Kapwepwe was one of the founders of our country, but his agenda of the North leading Zambia was still there. Right. It still came through SATA. We know that. Right. That's why Chikwanda came. We all know that. That's why. I am going to say it as it is today. I'm going to say it as it is today. That's why Chitimukuru said it. That they own the country. Right. So let's call it as it is. Who is then tribal here? Right. Is it the North? Yeah. Is it the East? Is it the West? Is it the South? Right. Who have been tribal all these years? Right. Let's go to statistics. Look at the diplomatic service. Let's look at the diplomatic service. 95%, if not 99%, either from North. Let's go to the civil service, permanent secretaries. Let's go to the boards of ZESCO, of all the parastatals. Right. Yeah. Let's call a spade here. Who is then tribal? Right. Yeah. So that statement by CK at Kaunda's house really annoyed me. It's offensive. You know, we have not been stupid. We have been seeing this tribalism going through. Right. These other provinces have been quiet. They're not stupid. We're not stupid. Right. Right. The people in the Western Province are not stupid. If there are any people who are supposed to make a lot of noise now, it's the people in the Western Province because of the Barossa Agreement. Right. We shortchanged them, but they've never made a lot of noise about it. Right. Yeah. So today is today. I'm going to say it because CK said nonsense at Kaunda's house. Right. I'm sorry. Right. The North, led by Simon Kapwepwe and all these people, including Chikwanda, you have been the most tribal people. And I think it's time people are told the truth. But Zambia is one country. It's one nation. All the tribes, whether Chokwes, whether Luvales, whether Kaondes, whether Mbundas, we are all equal people. There's no tribe which has got the title deeds. Kaonde is gone, guys. Let's be frank to each other. No tribe holds the title deed of Zambia. You don't. No tribe does that. It's true, because sometimes we behave as if but to take and go and say no. Zambia belongs to all of us equally, and we have no apology in calling for total unity of our country and calling out tribalism, particularly the likes of which is being peddled by Mr. Dr. Chimbakambwidi. We disagree with him. He's not a doctor. He's not a doctor. Let's call him out now. Where did he get his PhD? Where? Let him mention the university. Let me see his thesis. Let me see his thesis for his PhD. He's not a doctor. From today, I will never call him Dr. Chisimba. He's not. He's just Mweno Chisushi. That's all. Okay, yeah, so that's quite concerning. It's extremely concerning if and we disagree with him. And so it's very, very bad. Exactly. Forcing him to write a letter to the Minister of Home Affairs in Malawi, renouncing Malawian citizenship in 1972 because Malawi. And as long as you are only Malawi, you take Zambia. Kaunda guilty. Alembana later. Kumalawi renouncing Malawian citizenship. In it today, I'm saying we need to correct that historical injustice by saying umwina Malawi waikala Zambia. Asango ko mwina Zambia. Na mwina Malawi mwina Zambia. That's it.
And I'm making peace with that.
Not only that, Musha. Not only that,
yo, kana okwafuma wiso, kana kuli wiso kana. No.
No, it can't work. Especially somebody who was born in Zambia.
Yeah.
He was not born in Malawi. He was
It doesn't
born
matter.
in Zambia.
Even if he was born in Malawi, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't. Don't even make that an issue. Even if KK was born in Malawi, a person born in Malawi can be a Malawian and can be a Zambian, and it is okay to do that. Because I mean, if they were born in Malawi, why should they be pafie? But his father was famous. Otherwise, most of these guys are and that Waguchipata. Tevena Malawi. If what we want is to just correct it and say, Malawans, you are Zambians, let's enjoy life together. It's okay. If you are Malawan, it's okay.
What I'm saying, Musha, and our viewers, is that, Kaunda's death is sort of an end of an era. But we must put our history in perspective.
Right.
Because there are a lot of hotheads like CK, a lot of hotheads like GBM, a lot of hotheads, including the professor, who want to make our children don't understand their history.
Yeah, you're right.
The truth is, you people from the north didn't want Kaunda to be president, and you gave him hell.
Yeah, it's true.
You gave him hell.
Yeah,
you wanted somebody from the north to be the president, and you are still saying it. And you have been doing it for the last few years. From Chiluba up to Sata, you have been doing the same thing. But now you're openly telling us that we are not equal. And being threatened to say Tonga is going to be a president is threatening you so much. Why are you threatened? How have we survived with you, Bembas, ruling us for all these years? And we've never complained.
Yeah, I'll Monday. Okay, General. A candidate in Mpulungu resigned and endorsed the UPND NDC candidate.
Musha, you are the lawyer. Me, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a soldier and a politician and a business management specialist. The new constitution has clauses. I'm not sure which clause. I think it's 52 something. What does it say? What does the law say? Can you withdraw as a candidate? We have filed your papers, everything done, and you pull out. The issue of the death is a separate story because we've already got a candidate who has died. But this one is the candidate who is still alive, filed his papers, and now is saying he's pulling out and endorsing another candidate. So what does the law say, Musha? Educate some of us who are not lawyers.
First of all, I want to be very clear that this is confusion. So, at contention is Article 52.6. Article 52.6 of the Zambian Constitution. General, I want to volunteer myself to come and help rewrite the Constitution of Zambia. Some of my friends, now, I need to make this very clear. I am a practicing lawyer here in Alberta. So in law, there is something that we call practicing. Practicing simply means being professionally accountable to a regulatory body. Because contrary to what most people think about being a lawyer is really much more than just standing up to explain things. It's practice. When we say practice, it's a responsibility. So I get regulated here in Alberta. I passed the Alberta bar. My law degree is from England. I have a master's from the United States. So I'm truly an international lawyer. And so I do get some people who tell me that I need, first of all, to become a Zambian legal practitioner in order for me to comment on Zambian issues. Now, I need to be very clear here. The Zambian Constitution has been written and drafted by people who belong to the Zambian bar. It is time for Zambia to look elsewhere, and I'm volunteering myself. This kind of drafting confusion cannot be tolerated in a modern country like ours. We cannot be quarreling the entire history of our country to lay lacquer about how to construct sentences and put a full stop. This is unacceptable. Now, it does not just apply to the Constitution. General, I want to tell you something. A day before Justice Minister Given Lubinda left office, he signed a statutory instrument which promulgated what are known as Ziale rules. As a person who is interested in one day transferring my practicing certificate from Alberta to Zambia, I got interested. I went to read those rules. The same confusion that is in the Constitution, it's in those rules. And I'm asking myself, what is going on? Why can't we, as a people, just do something clear and straightforward? The rules that Given Lubinda signed are completely confused. Now, it's not that they made those rules in 2010 or in 1970. These are 2021 rules. I am therefore volunteering myself. Bantu mwafirwa. Imwe bani mbera chance. Iya kuchita draft if beyonsenga mwaisa draft if ya madongo dongo. And you expect to cover it, there will be no accountability to the people of Zambia. No, mwachira mwifia madongo dongo. There's Yale rules, dongo dongo. Legal Practice Act, dongo dongo. Constitution of Zambia, dongo dongo. Ero nomba tuika lefi atiyo mkwaite tulandepo. Go ahead. Article 52(6). This is what it says. Oh my God. Where a candidate dies, resigns, or becomes disqualified in accordance with Article 700 of 153, or a court disqualifies a candidate for corrupt practice, after the close of nominations and before the election date, the Electoral Commission shall cancel the election and require the filing of fresh nominations by eligible candidates, and elections shall be held within 30 days of the filing of the fresh nominations.
What does that mean in Ichuempala English? Munsha, before you
that is where the confusion is, General. That is where the confusion is.
Before you explain Ichuempala English, out of the volunteer, can I recommend another professor to join you to rewrite the Constitution? Professor Cholo Beani, another professor called Professor Melvin Mbao, who's a very close friend of mine. Those should help you, Mosha. Remember those two names: Melvin Mbao, Professor Melvin Mbao, and Professor Cholwe Beani. They will make it very, very simple. And my recommendation is that translate it into Bemba, Tonga, Lozi, all the Zambian languages, so that it's simple and easy. So go ahead, Munsha. What does it mean, that article? Okay. Because there's confusion already.
Now, I need to act like a professor for a bit. A professor, you know, like an when interpreting a text of the Constitution, right? You must read the natural text, meaning if you feel so if you feel okay, that rule of interpretation is known as the golden rule. It's also known as the literal rule, meaning Constitution, the natural meaning of the words that you are reading is what the law says. Literal rule, okay? And the Zambian Constitutional Court has been upholding the literal rule in its ruling for a very long time. So if you're each time that you go to read the Constitution, it's the natural meaning of the text. So whatever it says is what it says. However, if the natural meaning is going to lead to absurdity, you must resort to different rules. Now, those rules are a little bit more complicated. We have no time for us to go in there. So literal meaning, which means when you read a text, you just get what it is saying, unless it leads to an absurdity. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing is, when you are reading a constitutional text, it must be much more liberal than restrictive. Much more liberal than restrictive. Meaning, you've got to ensure that constitutional rights, because constitutional rights are much more important than other rights, you've got to be much more liberal when you are interpreting it and not strict. Unless, again, the words of the text itself are restrictive. Which means the text itself must be very restrictive for you to follow the restrictive interpretation. Otherwise, the presumption is that constitutional text must be interpreted in a liberal way. Okay. So 52.6, if you learn the vyakobati, umuntu ngafwa, okay? Ama nominations yachitika. Elo mwalisho yafe mwebantu twalikuwataka bad habit tulafuwa. General. Nangu steshani, tulafuwa. So eronga wafwa, nishu wafwa. So this constitution says, after nomination and before the election and somebody dies, it means then that ECZ must cancel the election and invite fresh nominations. After inviting fresh nominations, that election must be held within 30 days of nominations. So that is what the text says. But taking the text as it is will lead to absurdity, in the sense that you then can theoretically have an election in Mandevu before the general election. Because it says 30 days. Which means, because somebody has died, again, if we want to bad habit, very bad habit. So what this text is saying is that if somebody dies, ECZ cancels the election, and after it cancels the election, when it invites new fresh nominations, within 30 days, you must hold an election. So if this candidate died, like Nabafwa, Nabatusha, no yumwera tulepema evale uleta Nabafwa. So because she's dead, ECZ can call nominations today. And because of Article 52.6, 30 days is what? 23 June. By 23 July, we must hold another election. That is what the literal text is saying. And my argument is, because the literal text is absurd, we must interpret it differently. Ama drafters of this constitution, Katuishi, I don't know whether they were dizzy. And not even said butane is the solution, because na butane panga they were dizzy. So we are actually a country of dizziness. Pantu takwa nefirondoloka. Nicho ukuteka tako tabateka bueno. Anyway, that is what Article 52.6 says. Within 30 days. Some are arguing ECZ must then time it to an extent where we have the nominations on July 23rd. But nothing is given here, because on July 23rd, anything can happen. On July 12th, Pakowata coincide with an election date, which means that this particular provision, taking it literally, will lead to absurd results. And then now I come in with common sense. Because without common sense, you can't be a lawyer. Don't even go into all these things of saying you read the constitution. No. The first article of every constitution is common sense. So according to common sense, common sense rule of interpretation, what we must do here is umuntu ngafwa kweba idiapate to bring a new person. Or you just say the people that are validly nominated continue. And then you invite either new candidates or that party replaces the candidate, and then you move on. That is what makes sense. That is what helps. In fact, this resolution helps us to stick to August. If you follow the interpretation yaba ECZ, when a person dies, it means that the nomination is cancelled. Then it is possible we are not going to hold any election on August 12. Bantu, especially during the COVID-19 crisis, abantu abalafwa without God's intervention and common sense approaches, abantu abengi balafwa, a lot of candidates balafwa. How many candidates do we have in Zambia? It's thousands of candidates. 16 presidential. Every constituency has a minimum of 2. Or let's say a minimum of 3. The Yambema constituencies, they have more. So three, let's say 3 by average, times 156. Katwishi. If you're not very lawyer, she's
300, more than 300.
More than 300, more than 400. Councils. How many councils do we have? How many wards do we have? So we literally have thousands of candidates. If the COVID crisis is killing, even if it's 1%, it means then that the expectation is that even if it's 1%, now 0.5%, out of that 1,000, we are going to lose about 50 candidates, or 60 candidates, or 100 candidates. Which means how many elections then are we going to cancel in wards among MPs? And then if we follow the literal interpretation of this text, it means then that that election must be held within 30 days.
Now, that is death, Moshe. How about the other one who just resigns and endorses the other candidate?
Another confusion. This text says resigns. It includes resigning.
So even when the candidate resigns, they have to cancel that election?
I think we have to go to the Constitutional Court and ask that question.
I think we're a country of chaos. We're a country of confusion. That's why I recommend the volunteering of people, smart people like you, smart people like Beani, smart people like Professor Melvin. Not because he was my friend. He was my friend, but he's a very good lawyer. He's in South Africa. One of the
Constitution Review Commission. That's it.
No, we call it
Chiwempala Community Hall.
No. It should be called Chiwempala Mumbwa Constitutional Review Commission, because our applications, ours, both of us. So don't forget the Mumbwa side, please, Musha. Don't forget. Mumbwa is blue sky, where I come from, is very important as well. Okay.
Right.
So we're basically heading for trouble. Here is Mr. Hari Kalaba, who has lost a candidate.
Right.
Because that candidate was a DP candidate.
Right.
And he resigned. And he says he was misled. I think I'm now going to support the UPND candidate.
Right.
And it's very, very interesting. So the question is, how many might resign before the 12th?
That's the question. Particularly the interpretation that ECZ has taken. Because ECZ, originally, the statement they issued was, we are not going to cancel the nomination in Mandevu. We are just going to ask ZUSD to nominate a new candidate. That was common sense. That was common sense. But now they've changed. I don't know which lawyer they consulted. It's obviously one of the smart lawyers. Because Golefo a lawyer. Go to practical people. They're going to give you much more balanced advice than all these. So I think one of the smart lawyers probably told them just follow the literal reading of Article 52.6. But the literal reading of Article 52.6 lands us into problems, because then you must call the election within 30 days. Yeah, so we must let ECZ. So what are you doing exactly? So Mandevu is not. So Christopher Shakafuswa is in trouble now, right? Christopher Shakafuswa.
You never know. You never know. My biggest worry, Musha, is that we've got 19 presidential candidates. Anything can happen.
Yes.
Which means they'll have to cancel the presidential election as well.
Yeah. According to what they're saying, then they're going to cancel and hold it within 30 days. So that's absurd. Hold it within 30 days means powerful 19. Again, we humans have a bad habit of dying. You can't even predict that, General. At watch the plan, at ukafua pasha. No. It comes extremely suddenly. Umuntu fi alifia kuino arepe mabuino kuino dizzy, dead. So what this means is, according to what the Electoral Commission is saying, if that happens, fresh nominations are held, and so August 12 then
is irrelevant.
So how do you deal with August 12? Because it's in the Constitution.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm proposing common sense. My lawyers, you'll be at me now. Oh no, Shan. Very clear. Over the law, I don't even say it because I support this party or this party. You know what I did about those applications. Because so in that way, I think you've come to trust me. Because I support the candidacy of Mr. Hichilema does not mean then that I should shy away from giving very practical solutions to the practical constitutional crisis that we have.
Munsha, I want to thank you. I really want to thank you. I was even really shocked to hear Simon Mwelwa, whatever his first name is, saying he was listening to your lectures on Bill 10. And I think let's acknowledge it. You did a superb job. Okay.
Right.
I argued with Given Luvinda over a program, 1 hour program. I got a headache after that. But you were on it and on it for a long time.
Given Luvinda is one of the most useless justice ministers we've ever had.
What do you expect?
Listen, General, when I went to Zambia, because the PF government said that we that are in the diaspora, we need to come back home and give our expertise to the institutions. I went. Given Luvinda and his Attorney General, they undermined my application for no reason. They told me, you come back next year. I said, let me come and give my technical expertise as a lawyer. I'm willing to sit for any exam that you are going to give me. Because I'm pretty smart, General. I can pass any exam. Yeah, alabuafia. Nadia inenaya. Nef paper another pair. About 2 case next year. The day before he leaves office, he changes the rules. Number even no change my rules na fifine. It's full of confusion. So I called some lawyers and they look. At these people that want me, in case they technical expertise, and true to my prediction,
but Musha,
they made a law deliberately targeting me. No, I'm just a citizen of Zambia. I'm just a citizen of Zambia. I've been fortunate enough to practice law. No, na yanje vere na isaba ne lekeni miafu ilisheko. Bantu sentence structure muma laws tamudi. Bevere munishoke seko next year. The day before dissolution of parliament, Luvinda signed new Ziale rules.
But Musha,
don't you ever think about the next to pass any exam? Give me any exam and pass it. But this thing of saying that Yuko is the next year before Shiraya, Bachinjama rules. When I read the rules, they don't make sense. Fimofine, it's the same things that they've done to the constitution. Number could take a shani chalo. What? How can you be governing a nation like this? General.
What do you expect from somebody who has got a diploma in cabbage growing and piggery?
No, I don't want you to be belittling cabbage.
No.
Please.
No. I'm saying one thing. If you are qualified for your job, Given Luvinda should have been Minister of Agriculture, because then he was going to help us produce bigger cabbages and bigger pigs. We needed a lawyer in that ministry. No, you have said it. He's the worst. He has been the worst Minister of Justice since our independence. Okay, the worst.
No, but here is the challenge to the Ministry of Justice right now. It has professionals. Where were they when they were writing the new Ziale rules? Did they know what Lubinda was doing with the Ziale rules? Were those rules coming from Ziale? Who made the Ziale rules?
It was political.
Everything. The Ziale rules are 4 weeks old. Who made them? Who wrote them? Who drafted them?
Who drafted the bulletin? It's the same confused people. So are you really surprised? Are you really surprised?
So what I'm telling you is there is nothing wrong with having a diploma in cabbages. That's why I think anyone can be minister of anything.
A diploma in cabbages, we want it, but it must be employed to produce cabbages. Okay? Employed to produce cabbages and employed to produce piggeries and pigs, because we need piggeries. But you cannot take somebody who has got a diploma in agriculture and make him minister of legal affairs, minister of justice. It doesn't work.
No, all that is
that's why you've ended up having problems. I mean, having said that, it's really makes me annoyed to hear the guy who's leading the Economic Association of Zambia coming up and saying HH should have apologized to KK before he died for having privatized the 225 Zambian companies. Is it really true? HH should have apologized to KK before the 17th of June that, Mr. President, I'm very, very sorry. It's me who privatized 225 Zambian companies during privatization. Is it
President
true?
President Lungu, and we go back to the president. President Lungu has completely undermined institutions, even institutions of common sense. They are no longer making sense. How can the Economics Association of Zambia, which is supposed to be an association of professionals with clear historical precedents, be led by a shameless cadre?
Not a shameless cadre. You are using a good word, a shameless buffoon. I think that's the right word. I'm really, really sorry. And I have no apology. I'm a Chinese trained person myself. I was trained in China many years ago. I understand socialism. I understand communism. I understand capitalism. Okay, that Economic Association guy, president, is still living in the world of Lenin. The socialism and communism of 1970. That's where he's still living. And to put it on record now, HH never privatized 225 companies. He never did that.
No, he never did that.
And there was a guy called Valentine
Chitalu.
Chitalu, who was the chief executive of Zambia Privatization Agency. Those are the people who were giving contracts to people to advise, including lawyers. And one of the lawyers who handled the cold storage board is Mr. Lungu. Mr. Lungu helped to sell cold storage board of Zambia.
Yeah, no, General, listen. Bari Sampuisha, Balungu, Eva Sampuisha. No, but it's not that he did anything with that money. He took that money.
Can we then say Mr. Lungu sold all the companies in Zambia? No, he didn't. He helped to sign the contract for cold storage to be sold. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And for this guy, this gentleman, not even a guy, this buffoon, to be sorry to use this terrible language, Munsha, I'm really sorry about it. To say he should have gone to apologize to President Kaunda, I think it's tasteless, it's senseless, and doesn't make any sense. And the people at EC's Economic Association of Zambia, please, that Economic Association of Zambia is not a PF propaganda department. And for me, I also feel sorry for the students at UNZA who are being taught by that doctor. I feel sorry for them. I feel really, really sorry.
They're being taught economics by Lubinda Habazoga.
I feel sorry. I feel really sorry for our students.
General, it's been a very interesting discussion today. Can we leave it at that?
Yeah, my appeal is, let's continue mourning our father of nation.
Right.
Let's all guys remember that we have 50 days to go before the 12th of August. Let's also remember what Dr. Kaunda, Kapwepwe, Nkumbula, and all these people who fought for our independence stood for.
Yeah.
And for tonight, I want to say to our brothers who have been talking about this tribalism, stop talking about tribalism, because some of you have been the most tribalistic people for the last 56 years. We know that.
Yeah.
And because the people in the Western Province, Northwestern Province, and Southern Province, and Central Province, where I come from, have not complained, it doesn't mean we're stupid.
Right.
That's what I can say, Mucha.
I think this issue of Article 52.6 is going to heat up again. Once it heats up, we shall come back and clarify more. But we disagree with Electoral Commission of Zambia's interpretation. I think that interpretation is going to lead us into big problems. Okay. Thank you very much, General. As always, you are the best.
Thank you, Musha. You are the best as well, and I just loved the way you handled our friend in Lusaka. That was fantastic. And please
Why
appeal.
Do you keep going there? I don't understand. Why do you keep going to Chitambala?
No, I'm going there because thousands of people were blocked by Mwewa. So it's not fair. You know, we cannot agree on everything, but you cannot block people because of that. And, and I hope your discussion with him opened a very good chance for him to open up and let people. Let's be criticized.
Right.
Let's learn from each other. The idea of these discussions is to learn from each other. And if you are wrong, you say I'm wrong and I apologize. But if you're right, as you said, you stick to the principle. So you're right.
Right. So for those that are able,
like in the case of the political history of Zambia, I know my history because I lived it. I know it.
Right. So that's what I can say, Musha. That you did a good job, and let's continue mourning our president, and let's wait for the 12th of August. And I hope on the 12th of August. I forgot to mention one thing, Musha. I am told that people from PF are now fearing to wear their regalia in Lusaka and the Cobra Belt. They are putting them in their bags. They go for meetings, wear the regalia. After the meetings, they are taking off the regalia in the street. They are afraid. Don't if you think, how are they doing? If you think you can just fold it nicely, eh?
Yeah, muchola. Now you are Makusaka. Cobra Belt.
People, send us stars. If this program survives on stars, please send us stars. We cannot be having 2 stars per program. Nish, what kind of life is that? Eh? You want us to be like a Habazoga? No, we are not. Send stars to TV Bakwetu. We want to raise stars. We want to raise people that are going to partner with this program so that we continue coming to you live every day. We can even do it every day. Number, if you are giving stars like what you are, ubunangani. No. Na ifoto wala kwa to ubunangani. We need energy, mpamvu. Not we are talking to a fenta. Would you be happy? Bachipakupakubarela ndapa. Mwamonope bachipakupaku.
No Sunquick. Wafenta. But Musha, I also wanted to say thank you so much to the listeners. You know what? I'm just shocked about the people who are watching this program. From Nwapula, from Chinga, from Siavonga, from Kalabo, it's just an amazing. It's really amazing. But just wanted to say thank you so much.
And the State House.
Yeah, including State House, we know that. State House, we know what they are watching every time. In fact, they're even telling us to say they are watching and don't bring controversial issues. We know. So, but thank you so much, Musha, and have a lovely day.
All right. God bless you, and God bless our country. See you next time.